Welcome back, everyone. Corey Anderson here with the 7, and right now it is September 27th on a Monday, and it is 12:23 a.m. And today is the day we start week 2 of the Master Key System, on part 2, and we're going to do a little bit of a recap on part 1. We have been reading part 1 every single day, and we have been doing our 30 minutes of meditation Sunday through Friday. So that's 6 days out of the week, and we're cycling our mental training and our spiritual training program with our physical training, because we also do our physical training 6 days out of the week, and we do that Monday through Saturday. So we do our physical training Monday through Saturday, and then we do our mental training Sunday through Friday. So that at least gives us a day from one of the two to relax and not have to worry about it. Okay, because we all need a break from everything, even our training and discipline. Because we're already so disciplined, and we're working on our disciplines in other areas of our lives. So we're one person with a certain amount of energy, and there's only so much we could do at one time. And especially right now, as we're building our life and we're working on our stewardship and getting into a position to where we'll actually have more time on our hands to do more of this work. And eventually we'll get to the point where when we're not only doing this work for ourselves, but walking other people through this work too. Because I've already gone through this program. I've gone through it several years ago, and I've been reaping the benefits of it in my life. Now, I haven't been as fully disciplined as I'm working on being now. I'm much older now, and the older we get, the more we realize that this is the type of stuff that we have to have down. We have to be disciplined mentally. We have to have spiritual discipline, emotional discipline, and mental discipline. We have to be able to focus our thoughts on a specific task, because as we're learning, not only do we become what we think about and embody what we think about, but we also attract in the external world and manifest around us those things that we are thinking. Now let's go over our recap for part 1. So in part 1, we've gone over how there's one universal mind, there's one substance. The Christ teaches us this universal spirit as the Father, and it's the Father of all things, the Creator of all things. Not only has this power made everything within itself, it holds everything within itself, as well as moves everything within itself too. So it's omnipotent, it's everywhere present, it is all powerful, and it knows everything too. It knows our every thought, our every emotion. It knows our intentions and the actions that we take. It knows all these things. It's always aware of who and what we are and what it is that we're doing. Why? Because we're one with this power. We came from this power, and you and I are individual manifestations of this universal mind. And being created in its image and likeness, you and I have the power to create as well. And as we're learning, it is by the direction of our emotional and thought force. The way we direct our forces, our consciousness. Excuse me. So what else do we go over? That the attitude of mind, our mental attitude, since mind is creative and since consciousness is creative, the way we think and how we program our thinking habitually, what we think on an habitual basis is going to determine our attitude for most of the part of the day. Okay, so the more we could program ourselves to be a certain way for the majority of the day, we're going to continue to take those actions, and people see that and people feel that. And as we're manifesting that, because it's the law of cause and effect, right? So we're causing specific effects to happen. We're influencing our environment by who you and I are being as an individual. And since we are what we think, who we are and what we embody, again, is dependent upon our mental attitude. So we have to develop a mental attitude that's conducive to creating the life that we desire, to manifesting the things that we desire, and to bringing about the circumstances and the conditions that are going to help us achieve the life that we're desiring to achieve. Okay, what else do we go over? Okay, we went over that all these things are dependent upon our consciousness. Again, that all leads back to our method of thinking and the way we condition ourselves to be. Now, one of the most important things that I know we've gone over in part one is that, whether you want to manifest courage, whether you want to manifest discipline, whether you want to manifest abundance, all these are present within us and is present inside of us in their potential form. Okay, since the universal mind is within all things and is all things, and it's also within us, we know it as being within us through the subconscious mind, our inner, deeper selves, the spiritual body, or the body of our emotions. Okay, and when we get emotional about the thing that we are desiring to create, that's when that we start to give life to that idea, that thought, that image that we have of ourselves. Okay, in this, since the infinite mind is infinite and it has all things present within itself, since it is the God force and it exists within us, we have the potential of anything inside of us. Okay, we can be courageous, we can be strong, we can manifest that out of us by becoming that first internally. Remember, all possession is based on consciousness. We have to consciously see ourselves as that first. And then our mind, our subconscious mind, will begin to work and give us the ideas and tools, and we'll attract the things around us that will help us to become that idea and to take actions that'll help us, again, move along to manifesting that idea and realizing it in the real world, in the material world. Okay, I don't want to use the word real world because there are a lot of different levels to our reality. I mean, you and I ourselves were multi-dimensional beings. Our thoughts and our emotions are just as real, if not more real, than the world that we see with our physical eyes. Okay, a lot of people aren't exactly aware of that reality. A lot of people are known as empaths today because they have the ability to feel the vibrations of other people. Okay, and it's not exactly that they have a gift. Everybody has this gift. They're just aware of this reality. Okay, what else have we gone over? Okay, the one infinite mind, we've gone over that. The attitude of mind of the individual and what he thinks on a habitual basis that determines his character, we've gone over that. Okay, we've gone over how all the attributes of which we wish to express for ourselves already exist inside of us. It's our responsibility to develop it and bring it outside of us. We've gone over that. Okay, the infinite mind is static. Okay, it's something that is, and it's waiting to be expressed in form, and it's our responsibility to manifest it in form. Okay, it kind of goes back to the characteristics and things and whatnot. This spirit of the universe is the life principle of every atom. Okay, we know that everything in the material world is made out of atoms. This table that I'm sitting at, this chair that I'm sitting in, this computer that I'm recording on, this ring that I'm wearing. Okay, my Christ ring. Okay, has like 4, 5 different verses on here. All this stuff is made out of atoms, and atoms that we know are made out of protons, neutrons, and electrons, which are subatomic particles. Okay, and we'll go over that more later on as we go through our quantum physics and our particle physics section, because quantum physics shows us that by the wave-particle duality, everything is vibrating as it's also taken on form. Okay, so everything we see really is in vibration, and that the form that things take on is held together by a higher principle, a higher force, which we're going over is the intelligence of the universe, the universal mind, or the Spirit of God, God the Father. Okay, so we've gone over that. Our objective and subjective mind, okay, our conscious mind, which is a surface mind. okay, which is the part of each one of us that knows itself as an individual. Okay, and the individual mind has the power of reasoning, to think, to build mental images, okay, and has control over the movements of the body. Okay, we've got that. Okay, and then there's a subconscious mind, which is a subjective mind. Okay, the power of the universal mind inside of us manifesting through us, because we don't have to make our heart beat, we don't have to make our hair grow, we don't have to make our skin grow, we don't have to renew ourselves. Okay, there's a power inside of us that we know as a subconscious mind that's doing that for us. And that's about it. Those are the most basic and most fundamental points that we've learned from part 1. Okay. Now, with that being said, we're already about 11 minutes in, so let's go ahead and get started on part 2. And for our next week of our training, our program. So, part 2. Our difficulties are largely due to confused ideas and ignorance of our true interests. The great task is to discover the laws of nature to which we are to adjust ourselves. Clear thinking and moral insight are, therefore, of incalculable value. All possession, even those of thought, rest on solid foundations. The keener the sensibilities, the more acute the judgment, the more delicate the taste, the more refined the moral feelings, the more subtle the intelligence, the loftier the aspiration, the purer and more intense are the gratifications which existence yields. Hence it is that the study of the best that has been thought in the world gives supreme pleasure. The powers, uses, and possibilities of the mind under the new interpretations are incomparably more wonderful than the most extravagant accomplishment or even dreams of material progress. Thought is energy. Active thought is active energy. Concentrated thought is a concentrated energy. Thought concentrated on a definite purpose becomes power. This is the power which is being used by those who do not believe in the virtue of poverty or the beauty of self-denial. They perceive that this is the talk of weaklings. The ability to receive and manifest this power depends upon the ability to recognize the infinite energy ever dwelling in man, constantly creating and recreating his body and mind, and ready at any moment to manifest through him in any needful manner. An exact proportion to the recognition of this truth will be the manifestation in the outer life of the individual. Part 2 explains the method by which this is accomplished. Now, part 2. The operations of the mind. Okay, what we just read was the introduction. Okay, and the introduction pretty much says that everything that we found in the material progression during the industrial age, now we're in the information age, and the information that we found upon the mind, the power of the mind over the body is greater, it's infinitely greater than any progress that we've made in the industrial age, in the last great age. And this age that we're moving into is going to be that much greater. We're going to be seeing the most progression of what this age has to offer through the information of the power of the human mind. Now, getting started with part 2. The operations of the mind are produced by two parallel modes of activity, the one conscious and the other subconscious. Professor Davidson says, quote, "He who thinks to illuminate the whole range of mental action by the light of his own consciousness is not unlike the one who should go about to illuminate the universe with a rushlight." End quote. The subconscious's logical processes are carried on with a certainty and regularity, which would be impossible if there existed the possibility of error. Our mind is so designed that it prepares for us the most important foundations of cognition, whilst we have not the slightest apprehension of the modus operandi. The subconscious soul, like a benevolent stranger, works and makes provision for our benefit, pouring only the mature fruit into our lap. Thus, ultimate analysis of thought processes shows that the subconscious is the theater of the most important mental phenomena. It is through the subconscious that Shakespeare must have perceived without effort great truths which are hidden from the conscious mind of the student, that Phidias fashioned marble and bronze, that Raphael painted Madonna, and Beethoven composed symphonies. Ease and perfection depend entirely upon the degree in which we cease to depend upon the consciousness. Playing the piano, skating, operating the typewriter, the skilled trades, depend for their perfect execution on the process of the subconscious mind. The marvel of playing a brilliant piece on the piano, while at the same time conducting a vigorous conversation, shows the greatness of our subconscious powers. We are all aware how dependent we are upon the subconscious, and the greater, the nobler, and more brilliant our thoughts are, the more it is evident to ourselves that the origin lies beyond our ken. We find ourselves endowed with tact, instinct, sense of the beautiful in art, music, etc., of whose origin or dwelling place we are wholly unconscious. The value of the subconscious is enormous. It inspires us, it warns us, it furnishes us with names, facts, and scenes from the storehouse of memory. It directs our thoughts and tastes, and accomplishes tasks so intricate that no conscious mind, even if it had the power, has the capacity for. So training our subconscious mind, okay, as he had just said, our ability to do something in a great and perfect manner depends upon how we train our subconscious mind to get that done for us. The conscious mind only chooses what it is that we want to do, and then we program that into the subconscious. And the subconscious is the part of us which carries out the task. Especially if, as he's saying, how can somebody play such a marvelous piece of work on the piano while at the same time conducting or having a conversation? Okay, he has already built that within his subconscious mind. He could do it without thinking about it, and he could focus his mind on other things as he's working on this specific task. Okay, this is an example of how we're going to be able to use the power of our own mind in programming our own subconscious mind, so we could, like we were saying from what we've gone over in the first 10 minutes of the video and what we've gone over in the first part. Okay, it's unfolding, it's developing that unfolding and developing that power that is already present within us through the programming of our subconscious mind to accomplish any task that we wish to accomplish, because it is the power of the universal mind that is within us. Okay, it's beyond our consciousness, it's beyond that. So continuing, now he's going into conscious mind. He says we can walk at will. We can raise the arm whenever we choose to do so. We can give our attention through eye or ear to any subject at pleasure. Now this is the power of human conscious mind, the surface mind. Then on the other hand, we cannot stop our heartbeats, nor the circulation of the blood, nor the growth of stature, nor the formation of nerve and muscle tissue, nor the building of the bones, nor many other important vital processes. Because we have two centers that exist within our being, okay, and these two centers work through the two, these two different centers work in two different regions of our being. Like our consciousness works through the brain and central nervous system. Okay, and then the subconscious works through the solar plexus and our sympathetic nervous system. These two nervous systems are connected together, but they work independently, interdependently, we'll say, with each other. If we compare these two sets of action, the one decreed by the will of the moment, which is conscious mind, and the other proceeding in majestic rhythmic course, which is subconscious mind, subject to no vacillation but constant at every moment, we stand in awe of the latter and ask to have the mystery explained. So the subconscious mind is continuously working in a continuous rhythm. Okay, it doesn't have, all it is influenced by the conscious mind, but yet it is still under the power of a power that's greater than conscious mind. We see at once that these are the vital processes of our physical life, and we cannot avoid the inference that these all-important functions are designedly withdrawn from the domain of our outward will. It's withdrawn out of the power of our conscious mind with its variations and transitions, because a conscious mind, what? We make choices. Sometimes we change our decisions. And this power is placed under the direction of a permanent and dependable power within us, inside of us, which we know as God the Father, the universal mind, our subconscious, infinite mind. Of these two powers, the outward and changeable has been termed the conscious mind, or the objective mind, because it's dealing with outward objects. The interior power is called the subconscious mind, or the subjective mind, and besides its work on the mental plane, it controls the regular functions which make physical life possible. It is necessary to have a clear understanding of their respective functions on the mental plane, as well as of certain other basic functions. As well as of certain other basic principles. Perceiving and operating through the five physical senses, the conscious mind deals with the impressions and objects of the outward life. Okay, because what the brain and the cerebral spinal nervous system is the organ, the system of nerves are of the conscious mind, of the external mind. And the brain works through what? Sound, taste, sight, touch, anything that has to do with the physical and external world. It has the faculty of discrimination. Okay, we could judge things, we could see things, we could discriminate things. When I say judge, I'm not using judge in a way of thinking down upon someone or something, but judging it, being able to see, what it is that it is. Okay, discriminating. Okay, you see two houses, one looks better than the other, you're obviously going to have more of an eye appeal for the house that looks better than the other house. Okay, that's discrimination. Carrying with it the responsibility of choice, it has the power of reasoning, whether inductive, deductive, analytical, or syllogistic, and this power may be developed to a high degree. It is the seat of the will, with all the energies that flow therefrom. And as we've gone over through the introduction, we're going to learn how to manifest more of this willpower that we are. Not only can conscious mind impress other minds, but it can direct the subconscious mind. In this way, the conscious mind becomes the responsible ruler and guardian of the subconscious mind. It is this high function which can completely reverse conditions in your life. So not only does the conscious mind, our surface mind, not only are responsible for reasoning things out and discriminating and discerning what's right and what's wrong, but we have to guard our inner life, our inner mind, our subconscious mind from the influences of the external world. Let's say music, for example. Now I use music because music is by far probably the most powerful influencer of a person's actions and their thoughts, because it goes directly through all the filtering of the conscious mind into the subconscious mind. I know you've heard a song and then that song has been playing in your mind throughout the entire day, especially when you heard it in the morning, when your subconscious mind was most impressionable. Okay? And we're going to learn here how to guard any type of negative information and keeping it outside of the realm of our consciousness, outside of the realm of our subconscious, so we don't act upon anything that's negative. We'll be able to discern whether it's good for us and whether it's bad. We'll be able to discriminate whether it's good for us and whether it's bad. It is often true that conditions of fear, worry, poverty, disease, inharmony, and evils of all kinds dominate us by reason of false suggestions accepted by the unguarded subconscious mind. All this the trained conscious mind can entirely prevent by its vigilant protective action. So we have to always be aware and to always be mindful of what's going on around us in our surroundings and whether to accept something and whether to reject it. It is properly to be called the watchman at the gate of the great subconscious domain. So surface mind is the watchman and has the power and chooses. One writer has expressed the chief distinction between the two phases of mind thus, quote, conscious mind is reasoning will. Subconscious mind is instinctive desire, the result of past reasoning will, end quote. And we know about the power of intuition when we have an intuitional understanding that is an understanding that's beyond our conscious reasoning, okay? When we just know something to be true without having to think or logically reason it out to find out what exactly something means. The subconscious mind draws just and accurate inferences from premises furnished from outside sources. Where the premise is true, the subconscious mind reaches a faultless conclusion. But where the premise or suggestion is an error, the whole structure falls. The subconscious mind does not engage in the process of proving. It relies upon the conscious mind, the watchman at the gate, to guard it from mistaken impressions. Excuse me, hiccups. I tend to get hiccups when I'm reading a lot aloud, especially after I had just eaten something. Now, receiving any suggestions as true, the subconscious mind at once proceeds to act thereon in the whole domain of its tremendous field of work. The conscious mind can suggest either truth or error. If the latter, it is at the cost of wide-reaching peril to the whole being. Okay, so being vigilant and mindful about what we're accepting, being from the external world, as accepting as true and what's not true, because once we accept it and that reaches into the realm of the subconscious, we really begin to act upon that thought. And as we act upon the thought, it continues to grow inside our character, and we become more and more of that which we are acting upon. The conscious mind ought to be on duty during every waking hour. When the watchman is off guard, or when it's calm judgment, no yawning. Come on, Corey, you're in the middle of this. You got something you need to do before you call it a day. We got someone we need to be, and we got somewhere we need to be, and we have so many people we need to help. So when the watchman is off guard, or when its calm judgment is suspended under a variety of circumstances, then the subconscious mind is unguarded and left open to suggestion from all sources. During the wild excitement of panic, or during the height of anger, or the impulse. Now this is a very important part, because we're going to need to learn how to stay calm in all situations and at all times. Because the mind, the conscious mind, since it's the responsible ruler and guardian of the subconscious, it has to be in a relaxed state. Because if we have tension, then the mind has tension and it begins to act on what it's filtering from the external world from a tensioned state. And when we're in a calm state, we'll make better decisions, we'll make better choices, and we'll be able to see and discern more clearly the right choice to make so we could set the right cause and reap a better effect. Because during the wild excitement of panic, or during the height of anger, or the impulses of the irresponsible mob, or at any other time of unrestrained passion, no yawning, the conditions are most dangerous. The subconscious mind is then open to the suggestion of fear, hatred, selfishness, greed, self-depreciation, and other negative forces derived from surrounding persons or circumstances. Why? Again, because the conscious mind will be in a specific state, and what it's handing to the realm of the subconscious will be dependent upon the state that it's in, because our mental states determine how we're filtering information from the external world. The result is usually unwholesome in the extreme, with effects that may endure to distress it for a long time, because something could happen at that moment which can leave a lasting impression, especially if it's a negative impression. Now trust me, I know I've had experiences in life where I lost my cool, okay, and I did something out of my anger, out of my frustration that I don't want to use the word regretted, but I wish that I did differently. But at the same time, I'm grateful for that experience because I learned something from it that I couldn't have learned any other way. And it does go hand in hand because I didn't know. Remember, we don't know what we don't know. And when something happens to us that we don't exactly know about yet, there's no other way to learn it other than personal experience. It's a whole other subject within itself. Because I definitely know if I was doing this at that time, even if I went through that experience, because we don't know, and that mistake that I made, I would have responded to that situation a heck of a lot better than I did in the past. But it's okay, because you know what? We're here now, we're reading this book, and we're applying these principles. And we're doing the training. We're doing this. We're making this happen. The result is usually unwholesome in the extreme, with effects that may endure to stress it for a very long time. Hence, the great importance of guarding the subconscious mind from false impressions. The subconscious mind perceives by intuition. Hence, its processes are rapid. It does not wait for the slow methods of conscious reasoning. In fact, it cannot employ them. The subconscious mind never sleeps, never rests, any more than does your heart or your blood. It has been found that by plainly stating to the subconscious mind certain specific things to be accomplished, forces are set in operation that lead to the result desired. And we learned today that this process is called autosuggestion or self-suggestion, which a lot of New Age thinkers call it today as affirmations, I am affirmations, or self-affirmations. Here then is a source of power which places us in touch with omnipotence. Herein is a deep principle which is well worth our most earnest study. The operation of this law is interesting. Those who put it into operation find that when they go out to meet the person with whom they anticipate a difficult interview, something has been there before them and dissolved the supposed differences. Everything is changed. All is harmonious. They find that when some difficult business problem presents itself, they can afford to make delay and something suggests the proper solution. Everything is properly arranged. Now that's the power of the universe. That is the power of God. In fact, those who have learned to trust the subconscious find that they have infinite resources at their command. The power of God within us. The subconscious mind is the seat of our principles and our aspirations. It is the fount of our artistic and altruistic ideals. These instincts can be overthrown by an elaborate and gradual process of undermining the innate principles. Now, what does he say right there? The only way these instincts can be overthrown is by ignoring them, not paying attention to them, because we develop the habit of ignoring it. Okay, and when we just get to the point where we're no longer focused on it and looking at it, we almost disconnect ourselves from that power which already exists inside of us. The subconscious mind cannot argue controversially. Hence, if it has accepted wrong suggestion, the sure method of overcoming them is by the use of a strong counter-suggestion, frequently repeated, which the mind must accept, thus eventually forming new and healthy habits of thought and life. For the subconscious mind is the seat of habit. That which we do over and over again becomes mechanical. It is no longer an act of judgment, but has worn its deep grooves in the subconscious mind. Now, that statement goes back to what he said earlier in number 5. Okay, these are numbered, just so you know. Okay, is this thing still recording? It says it's still recording, but it's frozen.